Okay, in this episode of the No Money Real Estate Podcast, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get into real estate investing. We're going to talk about how to buy your first property and how to make sure it's cash flowing and making you actual money. You don't have to buy a course to get this advice. You don't have to pay for somebody's coaching. I'm going to lay it all out in this video. I'm even going to bring up my chalkboard and I'm going to draw this out for you so you can understand how to underwrite the deal properly. And we're going to get into it after this.
Hey, my name's Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, I'm going to interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America. And I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They built their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those tight real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
All right, I think the biggest part about this video is I have to do this in a way that people on the podcast can understand it, because I'm going to talk you through this. But you know what I'll do is I'll get my team to put the link for the YouTube video on the podcasting platforms, because you're going to want to come back and watch this video if you're not actually watching it on YouTube, because I'm going to pull up the chalkboard and I'm going to draw out the strategies that you should actually know if you're going to make money with this. If you want to buy your first property in 2026, if you want to buy your first property in the year ahead and you want to make money with that property, there's a couple different strategies that you can use, and you'll be happy to know that financing these properties all works out the exact same way. Let me ask you a question. I want you to go into the chat of this video and type the word yes if putting an extra $50,000 cash in your bank account in 2026 would make a difference for you, would be a benefit your life. Or how about buying a cottage, a family cottage, a beautiful cottage, borrowing all the money to do it, borrowing the money to renovating it. Then once you're finished and you get it all refinanced and everything is set up properly, you rent it on Airbnb when you don't want to use it, and you make $5,000 in income per month with that cottage, and you still have the cottage to use with your family whenever you want. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, right? Well, I got another question for you. Go into the chat right now and tell me how many cottages. Put a number and the word cottages. If I can show you exactly how to buy old dilapidated cottages, renovate them, rent them on Airbnb, use it whenever you want with your family, and make $5,000 a month in income per unit after all your expenses, that's $5,000 in your pocket. How many cottages would you need to own before you could quit your job? 1, 2? Imagine if you had 3 of them and you were making $15,000 a month in income. That's what we're going to go through if you're going to do this. Okay, I'm going to pull up my chalkboard. There you go. And sorry for looking down, but the chalkboard is sitting right in front of me here. So here, you're seeing the iPad. There it is right there. First thing I want to talk about with everybody is that if you're going to succeed and buy your first property, so we're going to say first property, there are basically 4 skills that you have to know, 4 skills that you have to master. Number 1, you have to learn how to find undervalued properties. Number 2, you have to learn creative financing. Creative financing is OPM, other people's money. Most people that are involved in real estate investing, they raise all the capital to do their projects, whether it's a simple house flip or a cottage or something that is like a beginner's tactic. Everybody learns that. So you just got to get good at that up front. Number 3, you got to learn how to increase the value of properties. And the most important thing we're going to go over in this video about that point is you got to figure this out before you put your offer in. I'm going to introduce you to the world of underwriting, and I'm going to show you an underwriting example so that you really know how to do this the right way. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm even going to share my screen on this video and show you. I'm going to go all out on this. I'm going to actually share my screen on this video, and I'm going to show you some cottages that I would actually buy, and we'll do that the first way. And then the number 4, the last part of this, is the art of the exit. Now, when I'm talking about the exit, what you have to understand is that in any real estate deal, there's going to be an exit. An exit is a transaction at the end. So if you're doing a house flip, you're going to find an undervalued property. You're going to borrow all the money to buy it and renovate it. You're going to renovate the property, and you got to do that quick. Time is the essence with house flips. And then you're going to sell it. And you're going to keep the cash, whatever that profit is. You can figure out what all that is up front by underwriting, and I'll show you how to do that. But the exit is the sale. Now, if you're doing the BRRRR strategy, which stands for buy, renovate, refinance, and rent, so it's like rental units, same thing has to happen. You're going to use private money to buy the property and renovate it, but you've got to make sure that you're going to increase the value of the property enough that once you're finished, you can get a bank mortgage and pay back all that private financing. So moving the financing of the property into that long-term hold strategy for financing, that would be the exit. So either way, there's going to be an exit in whatever you're doing. Okay, let me stop sharing my chalkboard for a second. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and show you some properties that I would actually look at. Okay, one thing you'll love about looking for properties right now is values have come down, especially if you're in the Ontario market in Canada. Values have come down significantly. So if we're out looking at cottages, we can find great properties again. So I'm just going to pull this up on the map here. I'm going to say Kawartha Lakes, Ontario. It's going to pull up the map. Now, where I really want to go, I'm going to go up. So the first part about this, when I'm talking about finding undervalued properties, I'm going to show you some of the ways I do it now just looking online. Before you start looking at properties, the number one most important thing is choose the area that you want to buy the property in. And here's some advice to you. If you're doing your very first real estate deal, then go and choose an area that you can be at regularly, that you can drive to. If you're thinking about doing a house flip, do a house flip in the core of a city, in a highly sought-after residential area, close to schools, close to buses, close to grocery stores and drugstores, close to kids' events, because that's going to be the easiest to sell. If you're going to buy a cottage, go buy the cottage in a highly sought-after area where people are already doing short-term rentals. How can you figure that out? Go to Airbnb, go to AirDNA. Use these tools to find what you're looking for. If you've got the money, you could even set up a Price Lab subscription. And those tools will help you to find out where it is. But what my advice to you is, especially when you're doing your first cottage renovation or house renovation in a flip, you're going to be there every day. You got to save yourself money by doing the cleaning every day at the property, by doing the demolition at the property yourself. So you want to make sure that you go through that well. Okay, so I live in Toronto, Ontario. So I'm down here on the east side of Toronto. I already have 2 cottages up on Highway 28. So this is Highway 28 up here. And I already know that a really good area for me to find cottages in is this Chandos Lake that's here, or anywhere up along Highway 28. If we keep going up here, we get into the town of Bancroft, we go up here to Maynooth, and then we go up past Maynooth. You see where it says Lake St. Peter? I own a cottage resort there. So I can look anywhere in this area, and it's going to be a great area for me. When I'm looking at a cottage, I want to be looking on lakes, because that's going to be the best place to do it. And what I would say to each of you is, wherever you're doing your first deal, make sure that you get familiar with the area. Get familiar with the lake. Spend some time up there. Go look at cottages. I know in the area that I'm looking, there's a lake called Diamond Lake. I own a couple cottages really close to Diamond Lake. And then right beside Diamond Lake is Baptiste. So this is the Crown Jewel Lake, this lake system right here, up in the Haliburton Highlands. And I'd love to have a cottage up around Baptiste Lake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start just looking at the cottage properties that are up here. Now, so if I click on this they want $399 for this. Now it looks to me, what I'm looking for is a cottage property that already has the cottage on it that I just have to renovate. Because if I have to build it, I'm going to get into permits and I'm going to get into dealing with the town, and it's going to add 6 to 8 months to the project, and it's just not going to make a lot of sense to me. So this is just a little bunky on the property. There's nothing on this property. So they're trying to sell the land for $399,000. It's the wrong market for them to be doing that. I'm really surprised that they're even doing that. So we're not going to look at that place. Let's have a look at this one. This one's not on the water. Let me just click on this so we can see it. Oh, maybe it is on the water. Yeah, it looks like it might be. I want to see a picture that shows me where the house is and where the water is. Oh, there it is right there. So that's their water right there. I like that property. Let's have a look at it here and see what do we got on there. So it's got a real cottage vibe to it. They only want $629,000 for it. Now, my problem with this property is there's really not a lot it looks like I can do to make this place better. So I want to look for dilapidated properties. This one looks like it's already been renovated, which doesn't really excite me because there's no way I'm going to increase the value of it much more than what it actually is there. Oh, it's too bad though, because it's got a lot of the great bones, but I don't want to get emotional about any of these properties, friends. What I want to do is just stay focused on the rules that I know exist for this stuff. So I want to find an undervalued property that I know I can double the value of when I renovate it. This must be something in the city or the town or something. Yeah, so that's not on the water. It's just a lot. We're not interested in that. We're going to keep looking until we find something. So if I go up here to Lake St. Peter, I don't think there's anything for sale on Lake St. Peter. Oh, maybe there is. Let me just go have a look right here. Oh, it disappeared. There we go. So this one's $959,000. So this is another one that you're not going to do much to it. We want to look for the dilapidated property. So undervalued, that's the key. Now, whether you're doing house flips or anything like that, it's always going to be undervalued properties. We're going to go back, take another look, see what else is on Lake St. Peter. There's Bootler Lake. Never heard of it. Again, this is the same. The challenge that I have with anything up here, when you're looking at cottages, I want to make sure that I don't have any neighbors around. Now, because there's so much treed area here, there might be something to this. But the other thing I could look at is a house flip if I saw the right value of a property. So this one looks like it's got that dilapidated feel to it. So it's a house. Oh, look at the big, beautiful pool table in there. Big snooker table. How about that? It just needs a lot of work. It's got a generator inside the house. Well, that's the generator panel. So it's got good bones. So this might be a good place. Now, the only thing I'd be very careful of with this type of property is the location of the neighbors. So this is the property we're looking at right now. I do love how dense the trees are, and I know I could clean this out and do something with it there. It's going to need a bunch of work, but this is a good starting point. So this could work for me. Now, what's really important about this is if I'm looking at a property, the first thing I need to do is I got to find out, is that a good price or can I get it lower? So now that I see the pictures, like this is a place, friends, that I'm seriously interested in exploring. So I'm going to go down here. I'm looking at that price. I see it's got, good bones. And it's got decent waterfront. I could put a dock in there. I could open that up a little bit. I'd want to go see it. I don't like the way the dirt is higher than the porch, but hey, that's all stuff we'd look at and clean up. It's a big cottage. I don't necessarily like great big cottages, but it could work. Got a big fireplace in it. Lots of work we'd have to do here. Got big stairs inside that go down to a lower level. It'd all have to be cleaned up, but it's big. It's big enough that we just looked at a cottage a few minutes ago over here on Lake St. Peter that's roughly the same size, and they want $1 million for it. And this one is already really done, right? So you got agents that are setting these prices. So that tells me that one that's only about 10 minutes away, if I renovate it, it could be worth $1 million. Because this one is right here, right? No, it's right here. Yep. So let me go here and click on this again. Now, this has been on the market for 154 days, and this is not unusual to see that type stuff, that it's been on the market for that long. So what I could do is because of that, and they're still trying to sell it for this, I can look in the realtor side of this. I'm a real estate agent too. I got my real estate license just so I could look at the deals. So I could look, I'm going to go look and see if that price has lowered at all. But I know I need to be able to double it. So let's say I can get it, I put an offer in on this and I can get it for 400 grand. I saw a comparable right here that says I could get it up a value of $1 million if I do this the right way. That's what you're looking for. So what I'm doing right now, friends, is underwriting. Now, let me pull up the chalkboard again. This is a property I'm interested in. And I'm going to go look at this property next week when I'm up in the area because it's close to one of my resorts. It makes a lot of sense for me. So let me pull up the chalkboard again. So what I need to do now is I need to look at this property and see what the potential of it is. So first thing we know is we're going to try and buy this for 400 grand. This is called underwriting 101. This is how you figure out what a property, if a property is going to bankroll for you, if it's going to work. So if I need to get that, when it comes to financing, everybody who's doing real estate investing, find a really good mortgage broker that understands private money. I can get a first mortgage up to 70% from a private MIC. Now that interest rate on that at today's rates is going to be 9%. This video was done in January of 2026. Rates change, but right now it's 9%. So if I do 400,000 times 70%, that means I'm going to get a first mortgage of $280,000 and it's going to be at 9%. So how do we figure out the interest in that? Multiply 280,000 times 9%. It's 2520 is the total interest in a 1-year term. Divide that by 12. It's $2,100 a month. Now, the next thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need a second mortgage. Now, I'm going to get the second mortgage from some private lenders. And it's very important if you're going to get in real estate investing, join a community, join a mastermind group, join a community that has thousands of people in it because the private lenders will be in it. And they'll lend you this money if they see your deal is done properly, if you've underwritten it properly. Now, I'm just underwriting this right now, but I'm doing it based on what I know is popular with these types of deals. So if I need 400 grand, I need 120,000 in my second mortgage, but I'm going to have closing costs. My lawyers are going to cost me $5,000. There's going to be land transfer tax of $10,000. And another $5,000. I'm going to say, for argument's sake, I'm going to add $20,000 in closing costs that I'm going to need. So I'm going to need $140,000 in my second mortgage. Now that second mortgage is going to be at 14%. So if I do 140,000 times 14% is 19,600. Divide that by 12 is 1633. And the total interest that I'm going to have to pay is, let's say, 44,000. Okay, so that's how you're going to arrange the financing. Now, this is 100% borrowed money. I'm going to get the first from a MIC. I'm going to use a mortgage broker to do that. The second, that same mortgage broker should have private lenders that can do that or join a mastermind community. Friends, that's the biggest thing. If you're new to real estate investing and you're trying to get somewhere in real estate investing, you need to be in some type of mastermind community. You need to be in some type of coaching community that has private lenders in it, that has people that are doing deals. It's going to make it easier for you. I would strongly encourage you to look at the Investors Growth Syndicate. We do live calls in our mastermind community. We have a call on Sunday night. We have a call on Wednesday morning. We have a live call every Monday night where we talk about house flips and simple transactions. We have a call on Tuesday. So there's 4 calls a week, and you can show up at any of these calls and you can get somebody to make sure you've done your math right, to look at your deal and say, this is a good deal, this is a bad deal. Did you think about this? Did you think about that? You're going to make new friendships in there, but they also have resources where they can get you the money to do deals. Join a community. It's called the Investors Growth Syndicate. Anyway, so here's the next step in this transaction. It's figuring out the budget you're going to need to do the renovations. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. It's all about you getting good at what you're doing. So whenever I go look at a property, I'm going to take a notebook with me and I'm going to build a list of the things I need to do with that property as I'm going through that. So let's go switch my screens back here again. Let me go back to the big screen here. So right away, we need a new roof on this property. I'm just going to make some notes on my screen as I'm going through this. So the roof is going to cost $20,000. This is another reason why you want to join a mastermind group. If you join one of these communities, there'll be lots of people in there that can help you with all your budgeting and figure out what you need to do. The second thing I see is it's all old windows in the property. So we're going to need to redo all the windows. See these old aluminum frame windows? They got to be replaced. So we got to fix all the windows in the property. And if we look over here, you see how they have plastic over this? That means it's all needs to be renovated, that there's issues with the windows. So we're going to say new windows, 25 grand. There's a lot of windows in this property. Then I look in the kitchen. It needs a new kitchen. Oh, so that's one bathroom. Is that the only bathroom in the place? We'll find out again if it has more than one bathroom. 2 fireplaces, 1 propane tank. Foundation is wood and piers, which means concrete, so we'll have to be careful and take a good look at that. 1,500 square feet. I think there's just one bathroom, and that was the bathroom there. So that bathroom's going to need to be redone, but I'm going to add another bathroom to this. This is 1,100 square feet. House, so it's going to be easy to do. So to redo that whole bathroom, new tub, new shower, tile, hardwood flooring and everything. So I'm going to say bathroom 1 is going to be $10,000. I'm going to put a second bathroom in that's going to be a shower and a toilet and a vanity. That's going to be $8,000. Now, the other thing I'm noticing as I'm going through this place is if you look in all the rooms, every room has different flooring. There's some old hardwood in there. Looks like some tile. Got to redo that kitchen as well. So first of all, the kitchen. It's not a big kitchen, it's a galley kitchen, but I'll put doors on over here to get new cabinets, new countertops and everything. I'm looking at $10,000 installed. The big thing is the flooring. It's a big cottage, and I want to put standard engineered hardwood throughout the flooring, the whole place. So I'm going to say hardwood engineered floors, 20 grand. Yeah, we're going to redo this whole kitchen. You can see the windows here too. So these windows, this is called a Viceroy model home. Viceroy was a big builder. This is the type of stuff you want to get to know as you're doing this stuff. That Viceroy home, those windows at the top might be good, so we wouldn't have to replace them, but I've got a budget for that. Yeah, you can see this all has to be done. I'd probably figure out a way to maybe close half of that and then put a railing on each side just so it's safer. But look at all the different types of flooring in here. So we're gonna get rid of all that flooring. And then landscaping outside. So the decks all need to be redone. So I'm gonna put it in the budget for decks, 15 grand. Now in landscaping outside, I want to put a hot tub, cold plunge, and sauna. So a mini Nordic spa. That's going to cost me $30,000. They make all the difference in the world. I'll show you what a mini Nordic spa looks like. Let me just go to here. This is Cottage Dream Vacations. This is my company. This is a mini Nordic spa. Hot tub, cold plunge, and sauna for 30 grand installed. That changes everything at these properties. I think there's enough separation here that if I put the outdoor area down here where there's the room for it, try and keep a lot of these trees in there, I think it's going to work out really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put for landscaping in the budget another 20 grand to do that. There, and let's focus on the budget here for a second. So let's add this up. This is what it's going to cost me. So it's going to cost me 45, 55, 63, 73, 93, 108, and 50. So $158,000 for all of that. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so now I'm going to delete all that because that's not part of what we need to do here. We're going to get rid of all this. We know it's 158 grand. So I need a third mortgage for 158. Now, one more thing you have to understand. If you're watching this video right now and you're looking at these numbers and you're going, man, I can't afford to make these interest payments. How in the hell am I going to do this? Nobody makes the interest payments. What we do as part of our capital budget to do the renovations, we add an interest reserve. So we figure out how much interest is going to cost, and we add that to it. So for my first and second, I'm looking at, for the full year, a total of $44,000 in interest. I'm going to add another $20,000 for the third mortgage, so that's $64,000. So the total is, let me do the math on this. I'll add these two things together. I'm not good with math at the top of my head, so 158,123 times 64,123 equals, oh no, not times, add. 158,123 plus 64,123 equals 222. So I need a third mortgage for 222. That's going to be at 15%. So I'm going to go times 15% equals 33,000. Divide that by 12 equals 2,775. So now I've got money to buy the property, I've got money to renovate, and I've got an interest reserve all built into this. But what that also means is the total that I'm going to borrow is $420,000 to buy the property and $222 for renovations and interest reserve. So I'm going to need a total of $642,000. Now here's the most important part. This is all going to be private money. The idea is I'm going to get the renovations done, and then I got to go to a credit union to get a new first mortgage for this amount so I can pay all those people back. And a first mortgage, I'll show you this in a second, a first mortgage. In order to get a first mortgage of $642,000, I know that the value of the property has to be at least 40% more than that. So there has to be enough lift that there's equity built into the deal. So if I do 642,123 times 1.4 equals 900,000. So I got to make sure that when this place is finished, it's worth at least $900,000. Now I know from the place that's for sale just down the road that they're trying to sell that for $949. So I'm right in the wheelhouse. So this means the deal will work. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put in an offer to buy the property with a real estate agent. I'm going to put 3 conditions in. I'm going to put a 90-day closing because I need time to arrange all this money. Number 2, I want to come back and visit the property 5 times between the day they say yes, they agree to sell me the property, and when we actually close. And number 3, I want to get an appraisal done. And when I get the appraisal done, I'm going to get an as-is appraisal, and I'm going to get an ARV appraisal. ARV stands for after repair value. I'm going to get 2 appraisals done at the same time. Normally costs me an extra $500 to do that, but that appraisal will confirm the deal. If my ARV appraisal on the budget, I'm going to give him a copy of my budget, tell him what I'm going to do. If he comes back and says this place is worth $999,000, if I do the renovations in 6 months, then I'm going to buy the property. Then I'm going to move forward because it's this appraisal that confirms the deal. Friends, that's how you underwrite a deal. Now, let me stop sharing my screen everywhere and just talk to you for a second. When you're doing any type of real estate deal, whether you're doing a house flip to get started or you're buying a cottage, underwriting is the same way. Find a value, use your agent to get comparables to make sure you're in the right ballpark, figure out your budget, figure out the math on everything, then get an appraiser to do an ARV appraisal. And if you do that ARV appraisal and it comes back in and says this is going to work, then do it. But you have to understand that appraisal is only good for a year. So you got to close on that property, get those renovations done quickly, and refinance quickly. In the market we're in right now, we found several people who ended up getting in a lot of trouble because they took too long to do the renovation. One last thing, friends. If you'd love to get into real estate investing, you'd love to start building a portfolio, and you haven't pulled the trigger yet and joined a mastermind community, we have an amazing community. We have hundreds of real estate investors right across Canada, and it's called the Investors Growth Syndicate. If you'd like to know more about it, I can send you a 30-minute video that explains how much it costs, how we're going to help you succeed as a real estate investor, and you can take a look at it joining it. So if you want to know more information about joining the Investors Growth Syndicate, just in the notes type, "give me the link," and I'll shoot you over the link so you can check it out.